Welcome to this style study for the Brewers Anonymous BJCP training program. This episode and this series is not affiliated with, nor endorsed, or checked by the BJCP, the AHA, or any other organizations discussed in any episodes of this series. All right, so before we get into the next category, which is category 4, we are going to do a little bit of a vocabulary building exercise. Beer vocabulary building. Specifically, nothing else, nothing too difficult. So, should remember that I said more than once, save your sheets. And I said at the last intro, I believe, or maybe even the last video of category 3, I said, make sure you have your sheets because we're going to go through these. And what I want you to do is highlight or underline or circle, somehow identify words that come up fairly regularly in your evaluation notes. Don't go super crazy. Just get a few that come up that you think you could probably find a better word for is what it comes down to, because that's what we're trying to do here. So once you have those words, make a short list of other words you can use in its place. And you can do that by coming up with words right off the top of your head. You can use a thesaurus, an online thesaurus, ask ChatGPT, whatever you need to do to find additional words that help describe the word you're using to help you start thinking more about how you can pinpoint exactly what you are experiencing when you're evaluating and judging this beer. So I have an example here. I found 3 words that came up a lot in my score sheets that I did for previous videos. And one of them is caramel. And caramel can be a good descriptor. It's used a lot in the BJCP guidelines. But there's other words that might pinpoint what exactly I'm perceiving better than that. And some choices are butterscotch, toffee, praline, maple, honey, burnt sugar, or even molasses. Another word that I use quite often is light. And even though light is kind of the bottom of the scale from light, medium to high or heavy, there can also be other degrees of light. And some of those could be delicate, subtle, watery, soft, silky, or thin. One phrase I not only use repeatedly in these score sheets, but I still use. It's just when it comes to mouthfeel and talking about texture, it's very hard to pinpoint what I'm perceiving. And I often use cream-like texture in various degrees, medium, light, heavy. So I took some time to figure out what else can I say in some cases when it's appropriate. And I had some options. I have velvety texture, silky texture, smooth and rich texture, buttery texture, or satin-like texture. So once you do this exercise, that's all I'm asking you to do. If you want to take this list you've written with you when you go to evaluate your beers and practice your score sheets, it's perfectly fine to do that. That's entirely up to you. What I'm trying to do here is just get these new terms or additional terms in your head and get you thinking more about how you can express what you're perceiving in your beers on your score sheets. Because the better you describe what that beer is and the better it matches everybody else taking the exam as well, and maybe slightly more importantly, the proctors, the better off you're going to do in your exam. So that's really what this exercise is all about. What you do with it after this, that is entirely up to you. So with all that, let's get on to our next category. We are going to now look at category 4, pale multi-European lagers.